Did you know that there's an episode of Victorious where the entire crew of 16-year-old students sleeps over at their teacher's house? Yeah. Sleepover at Sikowitz's was the season 1 finale of Victorious, and honestly, this episode feels like it should be illegal. And after looking into it, I'm disappointed to find that the plot of this episode doesn't technically break any laws, which is upsetting. Premiering back in 2011, Sleepover at Sikowitz's featured the cast of Victorious sleeping over at their teacher's house to compete in a method acting competition. And I personally remember the method acting characters from this episode to be pretty annoying. In fact, I remember the entire 22-minute runtime mostly consisting of loud, nonsensical characters all interacting with each other. And honestly, Victorious is one of the last new shows I ever watched on Nickelodeon. So by the time this one premiered, I was already starting to move my way out of childhood and onto the depressing mess that was young adulthood. And despite actually having nostalgia for Victorious, I can't deny, I low-key think this was one of the worst season finales I've ever seen before. So after all these long and grueling years have passed, I decided it was finally time to give Sleepover at Sikowitz's another look and see if I need to move on and get over the creepy implications of this episode, or if this episode really does deserve to be locked up in a jail cell somewhere. And if you like this video, please be sure to throw us a like and maybe consider subscribing. I'll go to the closest shopping mall and swim around in the fountains to collect some pennies if you do. And as always, if you have any other episodes or shows you want me to cover, let me know down in the comments. Alright, let's dive in. In class, Tori and Andre are performing a scene when Sikowitz interrupts the scene to scare the shit out of Tori. She breaks character, and then he tells her she's trash for breaking character and goes on a rant about method acting. Why the fuck does Kat have on 10-inch heels? She's supposed to be a 16-year-old girl in high school. That age demographic is not gonna wear massive heels to school, especially not when the rest of her outfit just looks completely normal. Class ends while Sikowitz is in the middle of his rant, and the main crew notices that he just looks like he wants to off himself, so they hang behind after class to tell him how dumb and easy they think method acting is.
Look, I'm sorry we disappointed you.
Yeah, it's just that we think that method acting is kind of dumb.
Of course you think method acting is dumb. It's too challenging for you.
I really don't think method acting's all that hard.
Why did they need to stay after class to say all this to him? The man already looks so upset. Did they think this would make him feel better? Sikowitz reminds the students that they're acting like dickbag amateur actors and invites everyone to a sleepover at his house for a method acting competition.
Who wants to have a sleepover at my house?
I do.
Yeah, a bunch of underage teenage girls and some pretty boys at a teacher's house on a Friday night. Yeah, that's not sus at all. At the sleepover, everyone will be given a character that they are not allowed to break. And if they do, they'll be kicked out of Sikowitz's home immediately. So the kids are gonna be kicked out into the streets late at night. He's just asking for them all to get human trafficked. California is the human trafficking capital of America, and these kids are 16. I know it ain't young, but it sure as hell ain't old either. The main crew agrees to the contest because we wouldn't have an episode if they didn't, and Sikowitz says they'll be picking each other's characters and that they'll all meet up after school today to reveal who will be playing what character. And at some point, Tori kisses Rex and he starts seizing and says he has to go home immediately.
Is that what you wanted?
Oh,
Rex?
take me home.
Bro definitely got a Woody after all that action. You know, a puppet boner. Later, all the kids assign each other their different characters, and honestly, none of them are really that funny at all. In fact, Jade assigns Andre the character of a pregnant man who just finished running a marathon, continuing a long legacy of Nickelodeon male pregnancy references. Why were they obsessed with male pregnancy? Also, Tori's post in the transition seems a little sus. sus. Red lipstick, cop costume, going to your teacher's house? This post is just a bit weird, and I don't like it. The underage kids start arriving for the sleepover with their teacher, and they're all deep into their characters when they arrive. And Mpreg Andre was not something I ever thought I'd see, and yet there he is. Everyone is just fucking around at Sikowitz's house, causing a ruckus, when, get this, Sikowitz notices a fly. He runs after it with his fly swatter and goes diving headfirst through the window. Why did he literally sprint through the window? Why is the glass paper fucking thin? Robbie breaks character instantly and asks Sikowitz if he's okay. So Robbie gets kicked out of the contest for showing care and concern for his teacher. What lesson should we take away from this? Andre's grandma calls, and for some reason he picks up. The whole time he's on the phone with her, he stays in character and pretends to almost go into labor, which sends his grandma into a downward spiral crash out.
Oh, why did I run that marathon while I was pregnant? What the bug are you talking about?
Also, I just love that she's sitting there with a metal baseball bat. That's funny as hell, and I wouldn't mess with her. And during Andre's call, Sikowitz's nephew comes in, and Tori starts hitting on him immediately. Kat overhears that he's going to a show and breaks character to say that she'll go with him. She then happily accompanies him to the show, and did he just have an extra ticket? What if the show is sold out? Over with Tori's parents, they're sharing an intimate moment on their anniversary, and I almost feel like I shouldn't be watching this when Robbie knocks on their door. He then invites himself inside to watch a movie with them, and why is he here? He doesn't have any reason not to go to his home. Back at Sikowitz's house, Andre's grandma shows up and essentially forces Andre to break character.
Ma'am, I'm not Andre. I'm a marathon runner who also happens to be
God, who did that? Come with me.
Please
You
stop.
are in trouble. You are in so much trouble.
I guess she's mad that he got pregnant before getting married first. Hold on a second. Andre's grandmother is very mentally ill. It's been shown. She's crazy. How did she manage to not only find Sikowitz's house, but also drive to the place without causing several head-on collisions? Also, quick sidebar, Sikowitz has been taking voice memos this entire time, and it seems like he's conducting a psychological experiment on the children unconsensually. Sikowitz then asks Jay to grab the tray of quesadillas, but he doesn't tell her that it just came out of the oven, so she grabs it with her bare hands, and yeah, her flesh starts to boil and smoke instantly. She lets herself out without breaking character, and Sikowitz just lets her run off into the streets at 11:30 at night, with her belly out, might I add, without getting her medical attention. This teacher could not care less about the well-being of his students. Back with Tori's parents and Robbie, Kat and her date show up because Robbie texted them, and they just let themselves in. Hold on, what about the show they were going to see?
Where are you headed?
I'm going with some guys to see the Wall Dogs play at the Moxie.
I'll go with you to see the Wild Dogs play at the Moxie. I'll go right now.
Bro said his other friends were gonna be there, so he just like showed up for 5 minutes and then ditched them to go to this random person's house with a girl you just met 5 minutes ago? This side character is officially sus. Back at Sikowitz's house, Sikowitz is now begging Tori and Beck to just go home and is visibly annoyed that they're here so late. The episode's title is Sleepover at Sikowitz. When they discussed this in the classroom earlier, they said it was gonna be a sleepover. They agreed on it.
Who wants to have a sleepover at my house?
I do.
Now bro is pissed that they want to sleep over? That's what was promised. Sikowitz ends up crashing out and just goes to bed, leaving Tori and Beck alone. I'm gonna say it. They could literally have sex on his couch right now. Unmonitored, underage teenagers in his house. It's unacceptable. Beck says Dan Schneider's name for some reason.
Have you ever seen a carnivorous wildebeest ruminate about Dan Schneider walking?
I am a police officer!
And back with Tori's parents, now the entire cast and crew is there. Mr. and Mrs. Vega decide to retreat and go to bed, leaving all these people in their house to do as they please. It's the next morning now, and Tori and Beck both wake up at Sikowitz's house. Beck ends up speaking without his British accent, which essentially is breaking character. Tori begins freaking out, screaming that she won. She then name drops the fucking show.
I am a police officer, and I am victorious!
And runs out. Okay, Tori, I'm gonna have to stop your sorry ass right there. Sikowitz said that you only gotta stay in character until Saturday morning to win the contest.
Each of you will be playing a distinct character, and you must stay in your character until Saturday morning.
Not be the last one standing. So that means Tori and Beck both won, and Tori was just being a sore winner. Yeah, that shit was just bad. It was bad. I mean, let's be real. The entire episode boils down to kids all playing annoying character and cause a ruckus. Something happens that catches one of the kids off guard, causing them to break character, and rinse and repeat until the episode literally ends. There was actually no substance or progression to this episode in any way, which made the entire thing feel almost pointless. And I can't help but still feel creeped out that a bunch of 16-year-old girls and boys were sleeping over at their teacher's house and that none of their parents had any issues with it somehow. Hell, the contest wasn't even a class contest. Tori and her friends only make up about a third of the class. The rest of the class wasn't even invited. And if I was them, I'd be extremely annoyed at the blatant favoritism showed by the teacher. Also, Trina wasn't even featured in this episode. It's a season finale. How did they find time to fit Tori's parents into the plot, but not Trina? Hell, even Rex just disappears after the opening scene of the episode, which is a bizarre choice, but I guess he didn't fit in with Robbie's character. Look, when you get to the bottom of it, I find this episode to be, quite frankly, a waste of time. It's a season finale in which all of the main characters play a random character that doesn't even represent them. We don't see Tori act like Tori or Beck act like Beck because they're all acting like these random ass caricatures that have nothing to do with anything. This episode is a massive example of Dan Schneider's random is funny issue. If I'm supposed to laugh at something simply because it's outlandish, the joke never really lands with me, and I'm never really having that good of a time. Like, I don't find Tori shoveling Raisin Bran down her throat to really be comedy gold. And that's what all of the comedy in this episode feels like. Random for the sake of random. And I didn't really like that. But enough of me yapping. What do you guys think of Sleepover at Sikowitz's? Do you think it's a mess of a season finale like me? Or did you enjoy this one as a kid and think I'm being a little too harsh? Let me know down in the comments. Let's kick it. If you watch this long, maybe consider checking out some other videos and subscribing. And as always, I have to give a boisterous, banging, slamming shout out to the channel and Patreon members. I can't kiss you all through the screen, but I can drop a sick haiku on your ass. Sunrise on the farm, mouth to udder, mid-slurp caught, dad busts out the belt. All right. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I can never express my true gratitude for your support. It means the absolute world to me. And if you're still here, all right, cool. I think it's time for you to finally take that leap you've been meaning to take. Make of that what you will. All right, thanks for listening.